The rock cycle, which is going to be the focus of today's lesson, is the last part of our earth science lesson. One of the things that we want to talk about is how this process works. So it's a concept that we use to explain how these three types of rocks are related, how they form, how they break down, and how they reform, because this is a continuous process. We've got three types of rock. We've got igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rock. They can all interact to become each other in a sense, in that when the rock is submerged and melted and comes back up as igneous rock, it can break down and become sedimentary rock. It can be compressed, compacted, and cemented in that form. It can also have heat and pressure applied and change into metamorphic rock. We talked about that a couple of days ago. We were talking about how shale can go to slate and ultimately end up as shift because of different amounts of pressure and heat being applied to it. So all of these things interact. I've attached today 3 different diagrams for you to take a look at that talk about the rock cycle. And each of the diagrams, they basically are telling the same thing. They're slightly different because I wanted you to see it with less and more detail to help you completely understand that all of these things are interrelated. So taking a look at the very first one, first of all, rock cycles tend to be read in a clockwise direction. And then there will be intersecting lines linking things throughout the middle. But if you look at the very first one of the slide, you'll see sedimentation at the top, and you can see it going 2 different directions. You've got compaction and cementation going one way, and weathering and erosion going another way, where it goes from sediment to actual rock, loose sediment to rock. And these things can happen continuously in a cycle. You can also see sedimentary rock, again moving clockwise, becoming metamorphic rock when heat and pressure is applied. You're going to see a cut across from metamorphic back to sediment, because when metamorphic rock is broken down by weathering and erosion and then deposition takes place, it turns once again back into loose sediment, and then sediment can become sedimentary rock. Or metamorphic rock can again be subducted under the plates of the earth and melt. When it melts and it reforms as either intrusive or extrusive igneous rock, we have that third rock cycle. Once extrusive igneous rock is exposed on the outside of the earth, weathering and erosion take place again, and it moves into being loose sediment. Or conversely, it can be pushed back down. If you have sedimentary rock that forms, and remember it tends to form around where magma and stuff are, if you have that rock pushed back under for some reason, it could be subduction, it could be caving, it could be any number of things that take place, it will melt again and reform again as igneous rock, or have heat and pressure applied. And you're going to see on that first diagram an arrow going back from igneous to metamorphic, where heat and pressure can be applied and it changes into metamorphic rock. So all of these processes interlink. All of these processes work to where one form of rock on the surface of our earth can be altered in a way in order to become another. The processes are the same, however. Sedimentary rock forms with weathering, erosion, deposition, compaction, and cementation. You go from loose sediment to rock. Metamorphic rock forms from heat and pressure. Different types of rock will form depending upon the amount of heat and pressure. And just because it's transformed once doesn't mean it can't continue to transform into something else. It too can be broken down and become sediment. About the only thing that cannot happen is for sedimentary rock to reverse back around to become igneous, because remember, the only way the igneous rock forms is when minerals melt. They have to melt, resurface, cool, and as they cool, depending upon how they cool, they will crystallize with either large or small crystals, and that in turn will form some type of igneous rock. So that's essentially the rock cycle. We are going to start doing some review worksheets tomorrow to get you ready for the test that is on Thursday. Fridays are going to go and change to become something a little different. I'm going to consider Fridays half days, and we are going to do field trip Fridays. This is not just fun and games. Field Trip Fridays are going to have an academic purpose, and you will have a discussion question related to them, or else some type of work that's going to be related. I will attach Field Trip Friday. It's a virtual field trip. There, with all of our schools being closed and everything, there are so many that have resurfaced, and they're really exciting. They will not necessarily be related to what we're studying for the week. There are a couple of them that are pretty cool that I think would be fun for you to just do and learn as extra material to continue to expand your background knowledge. So that, I think, will help. Even though it's going to provide you with some more knowledge and information, it's also going to be fun for you in the sense that we aren't going to end up just doing intense academics every single day. Field Trip Fridays, half days, so it'll be less focused on what we're doing. Next week, we start into physical science. This is our last week of Earth and space science. We're going to start physical science, and we're going to start with talking about heat and heat energy. So I will do that. The other thing that I'm going to start doing is, just like I would post on the board your lesson plans for the week or your learning objectives for the week, I'm going to start posting a document every week with that so that you can see at a glance what you can expect for the 5 days, both in terms of the work that's going to be required of you, but also the learning concepts. All right? Hopefully I will see you all in the Zoom meeting in about 30 minutes, and I hope you enjoy learning about the rock cycle. Bye.